We are back. This is Origins of Our Faith. My name is Rick Richardson, and talking about the three distinct groups, Jews, Gentiles, and Israel, that you will find in the New Testament. Now, I'm really trying to put some background to this and lay some foundation so we kind of get an idea of who they are. Jews were those people who were from the southern kingdom, the tribes basically of Judah, Levi, and Benjamin, that were not part of the northern kingdom. The 10 tribes that were in the north were taken captive by the Assyrians about 700 years before the first century, and it was at that time they were dispersed throughout the entire empire and lost their identity. They forgot who they were after a few generations. People married other people, they stopped doing the customs they did, eventually lost all track. And those people were supposed to remain really hidden until the end of the age, that northern kingdom. Again, the southern kingdom, the house of Judah, retained their identity. They, after the northern kingdom was taken captive by the Assyrians, the southern kingdom was taken captive by the Babylonians. However, they were not forced to change their identity or do anything else. They stayed there predominantly in Babylon, the area that we know as Iraq today. And then years later, about 75 years, I believe, after, came back to the land, settled in the land, and rebuilt the temple and reestablished the nation of Israel. So that's what you have during the first century. However, when they established the nation of Israel, it was only the southern kingdom involved. Again, the northern kingdom has not been redeemed. They have not been found. So when we're talking about these three distinct people, we're talking about, again, the Jews from the southern kingdom that came back to settle the land, that were all of Israel at that point. That's all we knew because the northern kingdom was still lost in the first century. And so all the people that we will know as Jews were Jews. They were from the southern kingdom. And then there were Gentiles. But Paul and Jesus and everybody involved, really, at any point in history, but especially in the first century in Judaism, really were focusing on the redemption of that northern kingdom, the entity that was not either Jew or Gentile. And it was to return rather at the end of the age, and something they were all anticipating and waiting for. So, as we go through history, as we go through the last 2,000 years, we are not really tremendously further along in redemption as far as Israel goes than what we were back 2,000 years ago. The difference is that today there is the means to redeem, because there is a means for everybody to know about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and to know about the nation of Israel, to know about the northern kingdom, to know about the lost tribes. That's part of what they are able to learn about. And so because of that, today then is a very good time for people that are rediscovering and saying, the Bible says this or says that. I should be doing this or I should be doing this over here. And many people are coming to conclusions that they need to do something other than what they've always done traditionally, whether that is an interest in the Sabbath, which many people have, or an interest in the holy days. In other words, rather than Christmas and Easter, which, as I said before, are both adaptations of Greek gods, either celebrating Mithra for Christmas or celebrating Easter for Easter. The traditions, the celebrations, the customs come about to us through paganism. And there are people that are saying, you know what, we should look to the Bible and see what the Bible says about the days that God calls His days and worship on those days. Rather than have Christmas, well, let's look into the Feast of Tabernacles or Sukkot and see what that's all about. Rather than Easter, well, let's look at Passover. Let's have a Passover Seder. Let's do some things that are more traditionally associated with what we read in the Bible than what traditionally is associated with traditional Christianity that comes out of a lot of the Greek culture at the time of the first century. So, because of that shift, because of a lot of the interest, and because of a lot of people moving a little bit more towards Judaism, there is a growing awareness of a third entity, rather than just Jew and Gentile, a third entity that is not either one. An entity that both wants to observe these things that seem to be more Jewish, and yet realizes that they are different, and they are treated different from all sides. You know what? If you want to be somebody that really associates with the Jewish community, and you're not Jewish, you'll have a little bit of a difficult time. It'll be somewhat of a struggle. And there's good reason for that. Because many times the Jewish community is beset upon by people that are there to convert them to Christianity or for some other reason, rather than just coming because they want to learn to a synagogue. They're coming to accomplish a certain agenda. And so it makes it difficult if you are actually somebody that says, you know what, I just want to learn. I want to find out things to do because of the history there. Some of that is changing, and I think that's a good idea. But a lot of it still is prevalent and still is there and still hard to deal with, and not something that is very easy to overcome. But again, this group of people that are in the what you would term probably as the Northern Kingdom, or that's how I view them, is growing. The group of people is becoming larger. There are more people saying, you know what, I really think that the Sabbath is a good idea. I really think that we should look at eating meat that is designated in the Bible as being clean and avoid the meat that's unclean. And there are people, regardless of whether or not it has to do with refrigeration or any other issue you might come up with. Many people are saying, well, you know, the Bible says it, and there's no reason that I can't do that. I always seem to look back to the approach of, well, is it something that will go against God? In other words, if I decide I'm not going to eat pig, is God going to be upset with me? Is he going to punish me because I didn't have a ham sandwich? Well, no, he's not going to be angry at me because I abstained from eating something. Okay? If I became angry with other people that did, and I did mean things to other people because they decided they would have a ham sandwich, if my fellow Christian says, I'm going to have a ham sandwich, and I, as somebody that does not do that, and I am in the group that people would call Christians, and I'm not eating a ham sandwich, and someone else is, and I become angry at him, so you shouldn't eat that ham sandwich. Well, that would be problematic. And the reason for that is because I am now not just looking to what my beliefs are, but trying to impose those on other people. And that's where things become a little sticky. That's where things become a little problematic. But I have to get into why that's problematic on our next program. We will have to leave it there, and we will see you again next time when we get together on Origins of Our Faith.